Showbiz Shelley here in studio with Mr. Josh Gad. How are you?
I am doing so unbelievably well. I freaking love Chicago.
No way.
I'm not sure why it was kept from me for so long.
Have you never been before?
I've been for I came literally once for less than 24 hours to do a Daily Show segment. And
Okay.
I was like, oh my God, this place is so cool. But we went to a podunk part of 2 hours away from Chicago.
Okay.
And just drove through.
Yeah.
But now I'm actually getting to walk around a little. And it's one more day longer than I was here last time. So I figure that by 2020, I will have spent at least 5 consecutive days here and really
perfect.
gotten a feel for the city.
Yeah. No, isn't it great? I mean, you have the food. Did you experience the food yet?
I'm on this crazy diet for my next film. So the only food that I can experience are things that rhyme with protein and shake.
You're kidding.
No, I want to kill myself.
I don't blame you.
Nah, and you shouldn't. It's
Right.
a horrible way to live.
Because
I keep seeing the deep dish pizza and these hot dogs, and I want to threaten all of mankind.
What a awful diet to be on and be here in Chicago.
It's an awful diet to be on in,
Anywhere.
What do you call that? Oh yeah, the world.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but
It's
anyway,
okay.
at least we have nice architecture and stuff you can look at, right?
Unbelievable.
Which doesn't involve. Yeah.
My favorite book of all time is a book called Devil in the White City,
Okay.
which takes place in the Chicago World's Fair.
Okay.
And so I'm just fascinated. It's just the most fascinating city to me.
Yeah.
And I've been dying to experience the city, and I really want to shoot something here or do something. Just come visit.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies here now. You know.
There are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, there's a couple of them, but so maybe one day.
Yeah, I
right?
may just sneak onto one of the sets and
I was
pretend to
gonna
be an
say,
extra.
Because
Take my
mean,
Wozniak beard out of its case and just walk around and pretend to be a homeless man walking on set.
that is a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I
Why
think
not?
you might be able to pull it off, I must say.
Thank you. I'm not sure if I should
Take
take
it
that
as
as
a compliment. Yes,
Okay,
you should.
great.
You absolutely should.
Thank you, Showbiz Shelley.
You're welcome, Josh. So you're talking about Jobs. What a fantastic movie. This
Thank
movie
you.
is so good. And it gives me goosebumps sort of talking about it and just thinking about it because the movie is about how this guy changed the world.
Yeah.
You guys changed the world. And it's weird because I associate you with Steve Wozniak now. You to me, I don't know, it's weird. Do you get that now at all? Because I know it's still.
It's funny because the film hasn't even come out yet, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of "Hey, you're the Woz,"
Yeah.
and I do think that look, these guys are such a part of not only pop cultural history but history.
Yeah.
When Steve Jobs passed away, I said it was the equivalent of losing both Thomas Edison and Walt Disney
Yeah.
in one fell swoop. And I think that these two guys in particular and everybody who was a part of this journey, what they contributed to the modern technological landscape is it's an intangible. You can't account for it. I'm sitting here on my iPhone
Yes.
right now.
Me too.
We
Yeah.
have Macs all around us.
Yep.
It's a part of everything.
Right.
And I think that's an amazing feat to accomplish something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's hopefully people do, see me and they go, "Hey, Woz," because that just means that they've all seen the movie and hopefully appreciate it.
Yeah, and last night I thought it was so interesting because you said after the screening at the Q&A that when you got the script, you were terrified.
I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah, talk
it
more
was
about
very
that.
different. It's different than anything I've ever done. I mean, in Hollywood, you kind of get pigeonholed for that one thing, and it was an exciting opportunity to get a script where a director believed enough in me that I could do this, biographical piece where I could play somebody, in my wheelhouse, but tonally outside of my regular wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I was terrified about that. The implications of playing a living, breathing human being that is in the zeitgeist
Right.
is far different than playing somebody like Abraham Lincoln, where you have no comparison, right?
Right.
Having said that, Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln is one of the great performances of all time, and I'm not comparing myself to that. But it's a point of reference that I'm talking about. It's
Right.
you have a direct point of reference in not only one but thousands of pieces of video footage.
Mm-hmm.
You can watch Dancing with the Stars. You can watch.
I
him,
forgot about that even until you said that last night.
And so I think that when you have somebody who's constantly in the limelight, it's a scary thing to take that on because you're inviting comparison inevitably.
Have you heard from him yet? the Woz about?
No, publicly, he's very vocal.
Yeah.
And I've reached out numerous times. I know that he's working on another Jobs film. So I think it might be a little difficult for him to have contact with me. But
Sure.
I have the utmost respect for that man, and I truly, truly, truly hope that when he does get an opportunity to see the film, he will see the unbelievable love and passion that not only I put into my portrayal of him, but that we put into the portrayal of that journey.
Sure. And like you said, you had the whole beard going and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I mean, was that a pain to sort of turn yourself in, or what was that experience?
It was
like?
at the least a 2-hour process a day.
No way.
At the most a 4-hour process a day.
Really?
It was grueling at times, but I thought that the makeup and hair department did such an extraordinary job
Yeah.
of not only on me, but their attention to detail with regard to each of these historical figures was unbelievably accurate.
It was, especially at the end when you guys
With those pictures,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Unbelievable. Yeah. And also too in the film, it seems like you and Ashton have just a really good rapport. Like you guys
Yeah.
just sort of really played off each other well, like you really were, these great friends. What was it like sort of doing these characters, with him?
I mean, it was an amazing experience. I got there the first day I got to set. I had never met Ashton before. We had had like this 2-hour Skype call to just kind of discuss the process and how we were going to go about portraying these two men. And, again, servicing the idea that everybody has, but also being true to the story that we were telling about these guys. And so we had that discussion. But when I get to set the first day, the amount of work that Ashton had done to that point was staggering. I mean, like, I could not believe the level of detail and attention that he had paid to every single element. And so to walk into an environment like that, what it does is it absolutely not only invites you to, but forces you to do your best work. And you just go for it. You just literally jump head first and you're like, let's do this thing.
Yeah. And there was one scene in particular where you're standing when you go into the office and he's, doing stuff, maneuvering papers or whatever. And it's this really touching moment that sort of brings a tear to your eye where, things get a little emotional. Was it tough to do those scenes?
It was really tough to do those things. I mean, it was cathartic. When we filmed that scene, it was one of those things where you really, you want that sense of pathos to come across, right? And it's one of those, like, hopefully those touchstones of the movie that people remember because it brings humanity to, I think, all the characters.
Right.
And that's important. Otherwise, it's just kind of like you don't want to trivialize the events by just making them kind of like this is a biographical linear story of what happened here and what happened here. You have to have those emotional components to really tie it all in and make it a story about human beings. And so the weight of that was enormous on me because I wanted to make sure that it was absolutely as honest and real as I could make it. And Ashton was incredibly supportive, and we just, as I said, we just went for it, and it was great. It was one of my favorite memories of the set.
Yeah, and I bet too. I mean, were there any moments when, because even Ashton had the walk down for Steve Jobs, like everything just like him. Were you guys shocked that just the similarities of how he looks so much like Steve Jobs?
It's really spooky. I mean, if you take a look at Ashton and take a look at a side-by-side comparison of Jobs at Ashton's age, you don't need any makeup to make that comparison. It's pretty uncanny. I mean, it's the two of them have the same almost bone structure. And so I thought it was an inspired piece of casting on Josh Stern's part. And I think that when people see the movie, they're really going to be amazed and in awe of what Ashton's accomplished because I think that people may think of him as one thing or another thing, and I think he breaks that with this film.
Were there moments when, like, if he didn't have the walk right, be like, no, we have to do it over, or this visioning wasn't right, or even with you, like, no,
I think that there was definitely because we were fully immersed in these characters, and because we had done so much work. a lot of times you just have to let go of that work.
Yeah.
So if anything, he was doing such a true portrayal of Steve Jobs that the director was like, pull that back a little bit, or even with me, whether it was the gait or whether it was the, just the gestures that I picked up by watching, countless hours of footage.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to let that go and just do a sprinkle, because a sprinkle of it on film goes a long way.
Sure.
And so if anything, that was the only thing that happened.
And what do you mostly get recognized for? Like, if people see you on the street, because you were in Book of Mormon too.
Yeah, you know what? Strangely enough, I get recognized the most for this show that I did in front of 1,700 people, 1,200 people a night in a black dark theater.
Yeah.
Where only 200 people could really see my face. For whatever reason, and it is, I think, the greatest compliment ever to be recognized for theatrical work. But I get recognized the most for Book of Mormon.
You're kidding.
No, I get recognized
That's
for Book of Mormon,
amazing.
and strangely enough, I get recognized a lot for like my like weird performance on like New Girl and Modern Family. Less for my own show, 1600 Penn, and more for like these random guest stints that I've done for these other shows. But it's very cool to be recognized for something like Book of Mormon, because I poured so much time and energy into that.
Oh yeah.
And it was a big leap to go and just go off to Broadway for like a year and a half and just do something just completely different.
I saw it here. It's amazing.
Isn't it a great show?
Such
and
a
I
great
heard this
show.
cast is unbelievable. I'm dying to see them.
Oh my gosh, you need to go.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
You should.
Well, the next Chicago trip that I do, we're going to be up to 3 days. And
That's
so
right. So that
that'll
cuts
be
into
enough
5.
time. Yeah.
Right. Well, this movie out August 16th, right? And it's just
August 16th. Go see it on August 16th.
Go see it. It's so good. And you guys are all so good in it. And now people
you.
probably are going to be calling you Waz or the Waz all the time, right? I mean, you okay with that?
Elder Waz, maybe. Maybe they'll combine the two.
Elder Waz, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I like it. Book of Mormon, Jobs, right? It's all the same. Cool. Well, thanks, Josh. So
Thank
nice
you
to
so
meet
much.
you.
I greatly appreciate it.